Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for client Amrit. I feel like I need to just start this as a read numbered part because Amrit came back to me a few days ago, a week or so ago, and he goes, Jason, I've been so busy on business. I haven't been training. I've been training maybe one day a week. I've deconditioned, lost strength, everything else. I need your help again. I need to stick this out long term. I see your new coaching rates. I just want to just buy a package and let's keep me consistent and put me in vlogs. He goes, and I really can't afford to train more than about an hour at a time. We need the workouts relatively short, so I'm keeping him under an hour. We're going to do conjugate 3 to 4 days a week, depending on when he can squeeze it in and, keep him moving forward. But on the other hand, he has been so successful at business. He broke it down for me, showed me some stuff he's doing. He's got 3 businesses now. He's like, I've been so busy and money is so good, but now my health and fitness has suffered, because I've got all these other things going. And he really does. Like he's doing phenomenally well. Like I'm surprised. Like I wish I was at his level with what he's doing with his stuff. Like I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. But he's also a very intelligent person because, again, I see the stuff he does for businesses and a living. The guy is absurdly intelligent. He's intelligent enough to know that his health and fitness are now suffering, and he's willing to invest in that. And so, again, he's just like, I'm just going to buy a block. Let me just get a whole block of training, and let's just run with it. And so I'm going to give props for that. Now, we started the week off because the day I was getting him his stuff, he's like, well, I want to do conjugate. I'm already doing a max effort bench today. So if you'll just get me started, with a lower body day. And so we just did the 3 days of this, and he knocked them out all inside of a week. And so, again, he came in, he's like 120 kilo squat. That's what he got, starting it off. And he's like, I know it's embarrassingly low, but I have to own it. People will see it, and that's what he got there. So afterwards, of course, we do good mornings. Okay, I have him doing good mornings. We do 1-arm dumbbell rows, and then I have him doing some goblet squats. Because again, taller, lankier guy, we really need that leg work. Of course, he's also said he doesn't really want to be more than about 180, so we want to keep him in that 180-pound range. And he's like, I accept I may never at my height, might never squat, 500 pounds at this weight. He goes, but I just want to be as strong as I possibly can in this weight range. I need to be fit. I need to be healthy. Because again, he's running multiple businesses now. He recently got married, so he needs to be healthy and fit to be able to be a provider in the long term. And so he's looking at those things. Again, guy's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. And so again, it's my job to get him strong and fit again, which we did before. I got him to a 500 deadlift, right? We had him closing in on a 3-plate bench at one time. We had him closing in. So we're going to get him there again. So then we went over to a dynamic effort upper day, and I have him just doing speed benching. He's got bands he can bring with him. There's band pegs on some of this stuff. But to get him back in the flow, we're doing straight weight. Before long, we'll work in speed work with bands. But again, having him rotate grips, and he's familiar with conjugate, and we got him to those other numbers on conjugate. Like the strongest that we had him at, he was running conjugate with specialty bars, chains, everything. And I think he still has all that stuff, but it's put away somewhere in storage unless he sold it. But he had bought a bunch of that stuff before, and he had it kind of tucked into a spare room. Like this is before he had grown his businesses and everything else. I think he had it at his parents' place, like almost in the edge of a kitchen or something. But he was making it work. But now, everything is flowing good for him, and he's just getting into a public gym. And eventually, we'll look at what he's doing with the equipment. Maybe eventually he'll be able to set up a garage gym and have all that stuff handy, which would be phenomenal. Of course, he's going to be traveling a bit, so there may be some stuff in other commercial gyms. So we always need to keep him being able to function in a commercial gym. All right, but as far as supplemental work goes, after speed benching, we're doing dumbbell presses. Again, I like dumbbell presses for a lot of my people, particularly ones who we need to just do some base building and bring their pecs and stuff up. It works really, really well for that, at least in phases, and then I'll take them back over to a lot of barbell work. But people will notice I do that in phases. For some of my people, they rotate through dumbbells. Other times I have them focus on, more incline and shoulder work, depending on their weak links and stuff are, depending on where they are. I also have in him because he's really good at chin-ups and he likes chin-ups. If you guys remember at one time, he was doing some really heavy-weighted chins. The chins and deadlifts were always his strong point historically. So I've just got him doing, after the dumbbell presses, we're doing chins. And notice because of the abbreviated workouts I'm getting in, we're definitely doing back work all 4 days for him. Not all of my lifters do that, and in his case, definitely, because they don't affect his other lifts. So he can come in and do like his good mornings and do back work and do his leg work, right? And then it cuts the times down. Whereas if we try to do 2 different lat exercises on the upper day, the fatigue starts to set in, the breaks start getting longer, the quality of work can be reduced. So in this case, I'm splitting it up. So he does chins, and I have him do some front raises to, again, work front delts, work pecs, all of that stuff. And then we are doing some band press downs. And I don't know if we got the band press downs on camera. We may not have for this. But he's supposed to be doing band press downs right now, or his triceps also. And if not, we'll get some of them in next week. We'll see where he's at with that. All right. Of course, I have him doing band pull-throughs, but he laughed and said, I don't want to do the band pull-throughs on camera. I'm like, that's fine. Not a big deal. We have enough footage. All right, speed boxes. Again, he's in a commercial gym for these right now and working with what he's got here. So we have this box to squat on. Unfortunately, he's tall. He's in that 5'11" to 6 foot range. So he's a little bit taller, longer legs. So for him, sometimes a taller box is actually still relatively deep because, again, his leg lengths and stuff, which, again, even that box we're using, he's a couple inches below parallel, not a problem. Speed boxes look nice and pretty, especially for a taller guy like him. His speed boxes look good, and it's because he and I ran conjugate for months and months, and I made him learn to speed box on multiple different bars and against chains and everything else. Because, again, we did them with safety bars, we did them with camber bars. So, we're good there. Now on his speed pulls, I would like to see him block those out a little bit better. Those are an incomplete lock. And again, something a lot of my people run into issues with. It's a very, very common issue. A lot of people don't lock those speed pulls, and it's something I try to emphasize with a lot of my lifters, because otherwise they end up with weak glutes and everything else because they're not following through. And I think it gets even more critical when we start adding bands and chains. Now the good mornings here, these are a little questionable this time. I don't like what I'm seeing in terms of the positioning. I feel like he needs to adjust his stance and find his hip position that will let him get a deeper range of motion without it turning squatty. So we're definitely seeing some hip positioning problems as far as his stance goes, and some hamstring mobility issues. So I'm looking here and it's like, Amrit, your hamstrings got tight again. Those hamstrings got tight. We need to fix that. And we'll fix it by doing that right there. Of course, then we have goblet squats. We got the goblet squats, which again helps with our mobility. It'll help stave off any knee tendonitis, because I want to rebuild his tendons. Okay, but notice for someone like him who's lankier, who has to do a lot of forward lean on a low bar, he does really well here in positioning these goblet squats. And I think that's the other thing too. When you get these longer limb lifters who really struggle to use their quads ideally on a back squat, a movement like this lets them do it because it gets that torso more upright, lets them get into a deep position and get that additional quad stimulus. So I also like them for that as well. And then up last, I didn't even see what this is. Was just, I guess, more dumbbell rows. And then he finished up with dumbbell rows for the week so that we did work lats and everything and grip on all 4 days. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.